The nasal cavity has been decongested. The terminal opening of the nasolacrimal duct is typically located around 1 centimeter back in the lateral wall of the inferior meatus, under the inferior turbinate, although the site and nature of the opening are variable. It is helpful to identify the opening at this early stage, so that later it can be confirmed that the stent has emerged through the natural opening and not through a false passage. The inferior punctum is dilated. The Ritleng introducer is gently advanced into the canaliculus, then lacrimal sac and nasolacrimal duct, taking care not to traumatize the lining of the nasolacrimal system or create a false passage. Instilling viscoelastic into the nasolacrimal system can facilitate the smooth passage of the introducer. The introducer is rotated so that the lengthwise slit can be seen facing anteriorly. The wire section of the Ritleng stent is inserted through the lumen of the introducer. The wire is identified in the inferior meatus and retrieved using the Ritleng hook or a small muscle hook. While the stent can be retrieved without direct visualization, or often just emerges from the nares if it continues to be advanced, the endoscopic view allows confirmation that the stent is passing out of the natural opening of the nasolacrimal duct. As the stent wire is advanced, a thinner section of wire is reached, which is thin enough to slide out of the slit in the Ritleng introducer. The introducer can then be removed, leaving the stent in situ. The process is repeated through the superior punctum. The stent is advanced by pulling from the nasal end until the silicon section is in the nasolacrimal system. Both ends of the stent are passed through a small section of size 8 feeding tube, which is advanced superiorly. Simultaneously, a ball probe or similar instrument is being held under the loop of the stent at the medial canthus to ensure that the securing feeding tube is not advanced too far, which would risk cheese wiring at the puncti. Liger clips are placed inferior to the feeding tube to secure its position. Alternatively, the stent can be secured with a knot. A single small, tight knot has the advantage that stent removal can usually be achieved by cutting the loop at the medial canthus and pulling one end, and the knot is small enough to pass retrogradely out of the nasolacrimal system, obviating the need for an endoscopically assisted removal. However, one does wonder if this might cause mild trauma to the delicate epithelial lining of the already stenosed system, and perhaps removal under endoscopic guidance may be safer.